Now call the City Commission meeting for Thursday, May 18th, 2023, here in Commission Chambers open. First, we will have the invocation and then the pledge. If everyone will stand, we have Minister Haley Wherry from First Priorities going to give us the invocation, and then we will have the pledge after that, so please stay standing.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we pray for our city commissioners tonight. Grant them grace to face the unique challenges that our city and community face. Give them insight into the needs of our community and discernment to make decisions and lead well. Bless their families, their homes, their businesses, and their ministries. May their decisions be based on your precepts and bring glory to your name. We will lift them up to you tonight because we know that, as with all positions of authority, you have placed them where they are, and we thank you for putting them into leadership roles here in our city. Thank you for their willingness to serve, to give back to our community, and to take on the responsibilities of leading our city. We ask that you guide them tonight as they go about the business of our community. We ask these things in the name above all names, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Ball.
Commissioner, your next order of business is to consider approval of the minutes for the regularly scheduled City Commission meeting held on Thursday, May 4th, 2023.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of our
Second.
last meeting.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner, the next order of business is the presentation of employee scholarship recognition. Keisha Shown will lead us in that, and I'm going to come down and join her.
Good evening. On behalf of the Employee Scholarship Committee, it is a privilege to announce this year's winner of the City of Johnson City Employee Scholarships. This program is funded entirely by donations from City of Johnson City employees for their dependents. And so we watch these kids grow up, and we get to feel like we have a teeny tiny part in watching them achieve success in their college careers. So it's very exciting. Since 1994, the Johnson City Employee Scholarship Program has awarded 215 scholarships, totaling $178,260. So we certainly want to thank our employees who give every year to this really important cause. But without further ado, we will announce this year's winners that we have here. If you want to get around me, if you want to walk up there. So Ms. Ball will give you your certificate. The scholarship itself will be sent directly to the school of your choice. First, we have Emily Barnett, daughter of Brian Barnett in the fire department. Emily will attend Keene University and study business. Kelly Blackburn, daughter of Dana Blackburn from Information Technology, who plans to attend the University of North Carolina at Charlotte and major in communications. Drew Finney couldn't be with us tonight. Drew is the son of Kelly Finney in Parks and Recreation. He will attend the University of Tennessee and major in pre-dental. Maggie Howland, daughter of Ann Howland, Information Technology, and Dave Howland Fire Department, who will go to Kansas State, and she's keeping her options open. Quentin McSpadden, son of J.T. McSpadden in Communications and Marketing, will attend ETSU and study fine arts. Maren Ross, daughter of Brian Ross in Facilities Management, will attend the University of Tennessee and is studying kinesiology and sports medicine. Morgan Sagona, daughter of Lisa Sagona in Information Technology, will attend Georgia Southern University, double major, oh no, I'm sorry, studying sports management and minoring in journalism. Evan Rutledge could not be here tonight. He's the son of Alan Rutledge in juvenile court. Will attend Tennessee Tech and study mechanical engineering. And we also have the John W. Campbell Scholarship that was founded by our former city manager in memory of his father. This goes to a first-year student at either Northeast State or ETSU, and it's a very competitive scholarship. We're pleased to announce that this year's winner is Alexandria Cooper, daughter of Shane Malone in the police department, who is a dental hygiene student at ETSU. Congratulations to all of you. Please consider following in your parents' footsteps when you're done with your illustrious college careers.
Mayor, the next order of business is presentation of a proclamation recognizing May 20th, 2023 as Kids to Parks Day in the city of Johnson City.
Whereas May 20th, 2023 is the 12th Kids to Parks Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust, held annually on the third Saturday of May. And whereas Kids to Parks Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit local parks, public lands, and waters. And whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and hypercholesterolemia. And whereas Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and outdoors. And whereas Kids to Parks Day will recognize the importance of recreating responsibly while enjoying the benefits of the outdoors. And now, therefore, I, Todd Fowler, Mayor of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim May 20th, 23 as Kids to Parks Day in Johnson City, Tennessee, and encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle. There you go. Introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what's going on at Kids to Parks Day.
My name is Taylor Dixon, and I'm the Promotions and Events Coordinator for Parks and Recreation. Kids to Parks Day, like Mayor Fowler said, is this Saturday, May 20th, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Winged Deer Park on the lakeside. And we're going to have all sorts of outdoor recreational activities. The TWRA will be there doing boat and water safety. We'll have nature hiking, nature classes, all sorts of fun stuff. So we encourage everyone to come out, get your kids and not kids, adults too, come out into the parks and have a fun day outside.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The next presentation is going to be presented by Commissioner Brock. It's a presentation of a proclamation recognizing June 4th through 10th, 2023 as National Garden Week.
Mayor Fowler, thank you so much for letting me present this proclamation. We've done it several times over the years, haven't we? In speaking with the garden club members, Mrs. Ball, the first thing they asked me was, are we going to have the sunflowers? So the beds are there, so we just need to plant the seeds, I guess. It's quite an honor to come and honor you tonight and all the garden clubs across our country and the beautiful role that you play in our community. So I will read the proclamation and then give you all a chance to say a few words. Whereas gardeners have a passion for nurturing the beauty and resources of the earth through the sowing of seeds and the care of plants, and whereas gardening is a challenging and productive activity for citizens of all ages and experience levels, including those just learning and those having years of experience. Whereas gardening promotes a healthy lifestyle that reduces stress and teaches that rewards come from diligent efforts. And whereas gardening adds nutrition, beauty, fragrance, and splendor to our lives through the growing of herbs, vegetables, foliage, and flowers. And whereas gardeners beautify our community, enhancing quality of life for our citizens. And whereas gardeners advocate the importance of all creatures, large and small, and their roles in a balanced and productive ecology. And whereas National Garden Week encourages members of garden clubs across the country and worldwide to serve others in the communities where they reside. So on behalf of Mayor Todd Fowler, Mayor of the City of Johnson City, we hereby do proclaim June 4th through 10th, 2023 as National Gardening Week in Johnson City, Tennessee, and urge our community to acknowledge the importance of gardening and the numerous contributions of gardeners. Now, as we say in Johnson City, we grow all out. So you guys, if you'll introduce yourself, if you want to say a few words, please do.
Thank you. I'm Sarah Bowers. I'm president of Shady Oaks Garden Club. We're a federated garden club, and we've been in existence for many, many years. We work on civic projects such as Butterfly Garden at the Public Library. We partner with Salvation Army to provide, we sort of do recycled flowers from different grocery stores in town, and we provide these arrangements every Friday to nursing homes and public places such as the community center.
I'm Irma Jean Randall. I'm a certified master gardener through UT, as well as active in our Shady Oaks Garden Club.
I'm Cindy Hintz, a longtime member of Shady Oaks Garden Club, and delighted to be involved in another National Garden Week.
I'm Mickey Grossman. I'm an occupational therapist, and gardening's my hobby. And I've made a park where I live, so I love that. But I also do Flowers of Hope, and that's been wonderful to bring smiles to people. We also supply them at the libraries, and, as well as nursing homes and individual people if they're sick or bedbound. So that's been a wonderful thing. And this Saturday, we have a plant sale at Atelier on Commerce Street. And it's a good way to get the best from our gardens that you can start in yours. And if you have any garden questions, or if you want to become a member, do come this Saturday from 9 to 12 at the Atelier.
I'm Ann Reed, and Mickey said it all.
I'm Cole Hendricks. I didn't know we had to talk. I grow roses. I'm really passionate about good dirt, so come on Saturday and I'll talk to you about compost.
And I'll give your proclamation to you. Thank you all for
Before we go on, we do have two scouts that are here getting their citizenship badge. If y'all want to stand up and just wave there. And they're here for a good reason, learning about government. So anyway, we're glad to have y'all here tonight. Thanks.
And they're taking notes.
All right, Ms. Ball.
Commissioners, we have a number of different road closure requests coming up. If the staff member Lindsay Jones is going to be joining us to cover all of these. The first one is a road closure for Fridays after 5.
Who's
Connect Downtown Johnson City Foundation requests soft closures of King Street and Millard Street as outlined on the following page for their Fridays After 5 concert series on June 9th, June 16th, 23rd, and 30th, as well as July 7th and 14th from 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The Special Events Committee, including Traffic, Police, and Public Works, have reviewed the site plan and find their proposed closures safe and appropriate. We recommend the Board of Commissioners approve these closures.
Do I have a motion?
Are we, we're approving each one at a time?
Right.
So moved.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. you like to tell us about the event?
The Fridays After 5 event is something that everybody loves. We're having 6 events, and the great thing is we have a partnership this year. We have the young professionals through the Chamber and the city and Downtown Johnson City and the Johnson City Development Authority all working together to make sure that we have this event. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Glad you were here tonight. We look forward to Fridays After 5.
And Lindsay, if you'll stay up with us, the next one is road closure request for the Vintage Market, Atlantic Ale House.
Okay. The Atlantic Ale House has requested a soft closure on McClure Street. The following dates for their vintage markets: May 21st, June 11th, July 9th, August 6th, September 10th, October 8th, November 12th, and December 10th from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Special Events Committee, including Traffic, Police, and Fire, have reviewed the site plan and find the proposed closures safe and appropriate. We recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. Would you like to tell us about some of
I
your
would.
different dates you're having
I
things?
would. They're all very different, but all essentially the same event. So I'm Jenny Lockmiller. I'm one of the owners of the Atlantic Ale House. And we started doing this last year around the holidays because it's cold and our place is small and we needed to drum up some business. But it turned into just a really great event that people loved, and we quickly outgrew the inside of the building. So we close off the street and we have different vendors come in that sell vintage and upcycled and recycled items. And it's just a really fun event.
That's great.
We appreciate you.
Thank
Thank you.
I'm gonna step aside because you're gonna see me.
I was about to say, you might as well stay.
Two shirts. Switch.
Flip it over.
The next item is the road closure for the Blue Plum Festival.
Okay. The Blue Plum Festival requests closures of Commerce Street, King Street, McClure Street, and Millard Street as outlined on the provided site plan on Friday, June 2nd from 5 a.m. until Saturday, June 3rd at 11:30 p.m. The Special Events Committee, including Traffic, Police, and Public Works, have reviewed the site plan and find the proposed closures safe and appropriate. We recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. Would you like to tell us about the Blue
I
Plum
would.
this
Blue
year? And
Plum.
it's all in King Commons this year.
It is all in King Commons this year, which is going to be a great location, although, thanks to Lindsay, we know that it's actually more space than we had before. The acreage is actually larger. But we're going to have arts and crafts vendors on Commerce Street. We'll have food vendors up on Millard. We'll have music in the amphitheater area in front of the library, and then another stage in the round spot under the sign. We call it the Commerce Street stage there.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing. We've had a great turnout this year. We've had to stop accepting any vendors after about May 5th. We sold out earlier than we've sold out in
Wow.
years and years and years and years. We're gonna have a good assortment of stuff for you all to come see.
How many
Very nice.
vendors did you say?
We have about 75 vendors this
Wow.
year, which is interesting because it's a new location, and I'm just trusting in the Lord that I'm gonna fit them in there, and the fire department's not gonna come get me.
All right. Very good. Good
So-
luck with that. We're going to enjoy coming. this
Thank
year.
you, come
Thanks.
down. Thank you.
Thanks.
The next item is 5.4, road closure request for the Goose Chase Downtown Mile.
The Goose Chase requests intermittent temporary closures on East Main Street, East Market Street, South Roan Street, Water Street, Buffalo Street, Tipton Street, and Spring Street as outlined in the following page for their Downtown Mile Road Race on Wednesday, June 7th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Special Events Committee, including Traffic, Police, and Public Works, have reviewed the site plan and find the closures safe and appropriate. We recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. Would you like to tell us about the
Yeah,
downtown
smaller
mile?
crowd.
Yeah.
It is, we get through it quick.
I know.
Yeah.
I won't tell John and,
Yeah. Stay away.
hold them up. We are excited. Downtown Mile actually celebrates Global Running Day or National Running Day, which is always the first Wednesday of June. And we're extremely excited to team up with Up and Atom, which is also behind the Turkey Trot, as we all know. And it's a perfect platform for them because they're all about giving money back to the community and get people healthy and fit. So it's a perfect fit for the group. And we're excited. We have 3 races. We have a kids open race, and then the highlight is the elite race. And we have these they're very fast. They're done in like 4 minutes, and so you blink and they're done. It's incredible, and we have a lot of fan support that come and just cheer those athletes on, and it's a lot of fun. And we go to Yeehaw and do our awards, and Cake Buds usually does a fantastic cake, and it's just truly just celebrating running, walking, and just fitness. So we're excited.
Karen, I would probably add that for me, the highlight race is the kids' race.
Yes.
That you will have these little squirts out there, and it's the cutest thing you've ever seen, and they just run down to the end of Main Street and turn around and come back, and they go all out for sure.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you. Appreciate it.
The next item is a road closure request for the Pride Rainbow Festival.
The Pride Community Center of the Tri-Cities has requested a street closure on Commerce Street as outlined in the attached site map for their Pride Rainbow Festival on Saturday, June 24th, 2023. The requested closure will need to take place Friday, June 23rd and Saturday, June 24th for their event. The Special Events Committee, including Traffic, Police, and Public Works, have reviewed the site plan and find the closure safe and appropriate. We recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. Would you like to tell us about your event?
Yes, it's second annual Pride Rainbow Festival. We had such a huge success last year that we had to expand the footprint this year. We also have 76 vendors that will be displaying there, and so we needed the road closure for our food trucks. So that, but it was a wonderful festival last year, and I hope you guys can come. It was really a wonderful celebration of love.
And you had 5,000?
Almost 7,000.
Almost 7.
Yeah.
All right, very nice.
It's a wonderful thing this year. We're going to have ours at the end of June, and then, of course, Tri-Pride in September. So the Johnson City is really coming through with festivals this year. I think it's wonderful, finally, after COVID.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Item 5.6 is another road closure request for the Goose Chase for the Bluegrass Half Marathon.
All right, y'all are going to have to be patient with me on this one. The Goose Chase has requested intermittent temporary closures of Alabama Street, East Maple Street, West Maple Street, Cherokee Street, West Pine Street, Ernest Street, West Locust Street, Divine Street, Southwest Avenue, Stout Drive, West State of Franklin, North State of Franklin, West Market Street, Veterans Way, Lamont Street, Hillcrest Drive, Wilson Avenue, Winter Street, Lamont Street, South Commerce Street, North Rome Street, East King Street, Elm Street, Water Street, Buffalo Street, East Main Street, Birch Street, South Broadway Street, Orland Street, and Legion Street, as outlined in the provided site plan for their Bluegrass Half Marathon on Saturday, September 24th, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The Special Events Committee, including Traffic, Police, and Public Works, have reviewed the site plan and find the proposed closures safe and appropriate. We recommend approval.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. You couldn't come up with one more street to make it
No.
even
No.
30 instead of 29? I
It's
mean,
13.1
No, this is our
miles of
14th
street.
annual Bluegrass Half Marathon, and it really is become the premier, one of the premier half marathons of the Tri-Cities market. We're excited to be back, and the course has been about the same course since we started. We adjusted here and there, but we do have a lot of these streets that we don't totally shut down, but we run across. And
Yeah.
when we originally created years ago, we wanted to go through some of the prettier parts of Johnson City. Not that every part of Johnson City is pretty, but we wanted to incorporate ETSU and the tree streets, and of course the VA at the time. And but it's truly a fan runner friendly favorite, so they love it. And we have bluegrass music along the course, and it's a fun race.
And it's rolling closures.
Yes,
so
yes,
As
sorry,
soon as the
yes,
field
yes,
goes through, the street
Open it
opens
back
back
up.
up. Yeah. Yeah. What are you expecting this year?
Oh, don't ask me that question. I'll say a number, and I get close sometimes, and sometimes I don't. But usually we average around 500, 600, 700, 800, so depends. But we have 3 actually half marathons. We actually have one Saturday in Elizabethton, and of course Bluegrass in September, and then we have another one in October called the Haunted Half, and the 3 of them create a trifecta series, and so we try to encourage runners to do all 3. So the very first race starts tomorrow or Saturday, and then of course Bluegrass is a staple, so it's haunted. But these athletes love it. It's really fun thing to be involved with.
But in the bluegrass, you can run as a relay, right?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you,
So you
Jenny.
can just get 3 other people besides you. And
Well,
each
we
one-
actually changed it here
Okay.
lately. We work with We Run Events, does our timing, and we decide just have a relay team. So you can do a 2, 4, or 3-person relay team. You can really choose. We have a lot of people that want to have just a partner and do it together, and then there's, sometimes they can't find a fourth, and so we just say it's a team relay and leave it at that. And we do a co-ed category, all female, all male category, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lindsay. Commission, your next order of business is consideration of the consent agenda.
All right, I will start.
I
my
will
left side.
pull 6.1.2.
Anything else?
I think that's it for me.
All right.
I want to pull the same item.
All right. That's it for tonight then.
Okay,
Just
thank
that
you.
one item.
I will ask Assistant City Manager Randy Trivet to come up, and then we have here from Habitat for Humanity, Laura Kelly, who will be assisting him in a presentation.
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity to get to talk about this project that's proposed before you tonight. It's on Moreland Drive. It's property the city's owned for a number of years, so I have a small PowerPoint to talk a little bit about the deed restrictions and the city's ownership in this. And then once I finish my part of the deed and the deed restrictions, I'll turn it over to Laura Kelly with Habitat for Humanity to talk to you a little bit about the proposal that Habitat's presenting before you tonight too for your consideration. So a little bit of history on this piece of property. The protective covenants that run with the land, that's the actual title of this deed. It's called the Protective Covenants Running with the Land. They were established in April 17th of 1959, and that was with the Johnson City Housing Authority. And it was in conjunction and partnership with the City of Johnson City as a redevelopment plan for 117 acres of property that was blighted property at the time that they were looking at redeveloping and improving for the City of Johnson City. So that's when it was first established and the plan was done, and there was a master plan that was laid out for that 117 acres with a plat that was developed for that. Then in January of 1961, there was an amendment made to the restrictive covenants that was recorded on that property. And then in 1962, on October in 1962, the property had been developed some and it had been growing, but there was 3.08 acres, and that's the subject property that we're talking about tonight. And that was purchased by the City of Johnson City from the Johnson City Housing Authority. And in that warranty deed, and it is a warranty deed, it's not a quitclaim deed, it is a warranty deed where we purchased it that comes back to the City of Johnson City. There was reference made back to the 1959 protective covenants that run with the property. So all of those things are staying with the property the entire time in perpetuity. So the protective covenants from 1959, this is an excerpt from that exact deed that was recorded at the courthouse. And it talks about specific restrictions. Notice the heading is Article 3, and it's important to remember some of the language that's in this because this was the original one that was part of the 117 acre redevelopment. But it says on the land use for this particular property, all building sites in the project area shall be used for the construction of residential dwelling. That emphasis is added for me so that you guys can point that out, but the residential dwellings in conformity with all the requirements of city codes and ordinances and the specific restrictions of the covenants. Then it goes on to say Lot 1, Block S, and Lot 1, Block R, which are specific lots that are labeled in this 117 acre development, are designated for commercial use. And it'll have all those activities permitted by the zoning ordinance that are allowed in a commercial use. This was the original part of the 1959 protective covenants. Now, this is the original plat that was presented with those covenants that were registered in 1959. And if you see over to the right, I've got a box that says subject property with an arrow. That's the Moreland property that we're discussing tonight. That's the 3 acres, a little over 3 acre piece of property that Habitat's going to propose a development on. If you look down into the lower left-hand corner, that's lot 1, block R, and an arrow pointing to that, and lot 1, block S has got an arrow pointing to the adjacent lot. Those are the lots that were referenced in that restrictive covenant for the commercial use at the time. And so you can see it's all the way across the property. More than likely, and I wasn't there at that time, I wasn't even born yet, but at that time, I'm assuming that they were looking at doing a neighborhood grocery store or some type of a retail for this 117 acre development. But that's why they designated just those 2 lots for commercial use.
And what are those 2 lots close to now? Is it down?
It's down closer toward Carver and toward that front side right there.
Okay.
If you notice, and I'll use this, and JT's got this arrow blown up so you can really see it. This is John Exum Parkway through here, and then this is Moreland Drive. This is the property that we're considering and talking about tonight. And then this is the property, those property lots that are specifically mentioned in those restrictive covenants. So then, like I said earlier, in 1961, there was an amendment to those restrictive covenants. And there was language in that original one that outlined how you could do an amendment. An amendment had to be approved by the Johnson City Housing Authority. It had to be approved by the Johnson City City Commission. And it also had to be approved by certain adjacent neighbors. And in that amendment, the neighbors agree to it and are signatured on that particular amendment. But in 1961, this is exact language that comes out of there with the emphasis added for me for clarity. But it talks about, in resolutions, you all know where it says whereas, that's the intent of what's getting ready to come. That's why the resolution stated that whereas this is what follows. But if you read that first whereas in that first paragraph, it says Article 3, specific restrictions, Section 1, land uses. It says second sentence, page 3, which reads as follows: Lot 1, Block S, and Lot 1, Block R, designated for commercial use. That's the properties I showed you down in the lower left-hand corner. It'll have those activities permitted by the zoning ordinance of the City of Johnson City and the redevelopment plan and the amendment, which is this one there too. Then the next whereas, the next paragraph goes on to say, whereas the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, the purchaser and present title holder deems it desirable and for the public interest that the second sentence in the restriction above referred to should be eliminated and in its stead to redesignate it for park and or recreational use. So the second sentence is the Lot 1, Block S, Lot 1, Block R for commercial use. That's the second sentence. They desired to have that change from commercial use to recreation and or park use. Then the deed goes on where the meat comes in, where it says, now therefore be it resolved, as you're finishing it up. And if you read this, it says the Johnson City Housing Authority, which is the original owner of the property and the 117 acres, amend and revise Article 3, the specific restrictions, and it goes on to record the deed book and the page number that it's listed at the registrar's office. And if you go down, it says, by deleting the entire second sentence of said Article 3, specific restrictions, Section 1, land uses of the said protective covenants, so as to read as follows. So this is what's going into that deed, and this is what pertains to the restrictions. Article 3, specific restrictions, land uses. All building sites in the project area shall be used for residential uses in conformity to all requirements of city codes and ordinances and specific restrictions of this covenant. Said protective covenants in all other respects shall be and remain in full force and effect. So basically the property that was remaining, other than those 2 lots, are to be used for residential purposes. Now, this is a current zoning of that property. The darker yellow to the left is all R4, and that includes the property we're talking about tonight. The property to the right of that, that's got the pale yellow, is all designated current zoning as R2C. You all are very familiar with those zoning designations. So here's the proposed site plan that Habitat for Humanity is proposing on this property at Moreland Drive, the 3 acres. They're going to come off Moreland Drive with the cul-de-sac and then subdivide the lots in order to get about, I think that's 11 houses, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 houses. And so they're going to put 12 houses, and then the lower part that runs along Moreland Drive, they're going to designate as a park and as a neighborhood park, that they're going to build it out and put playground equipment. They're going to put amenities in there, and then they're going to convey that back to the city so that the city's Park and Rec Department can maintain that in perpetuity. That will prevent them from having to create an HOA or some sort of that to maintain that property. The city would be better suited to maintain that property in the future. But they will do that and deed that back to the property at no cost to the city. But I feel like with the Habitat for Humanity coming in, if the city desires to convey this property to them, and then they've also met with Washington County to get a $300,000 grant through ARPA to do some of the site work with, that's really keeping the cost of these houses at a minimum. And with the program that Laura will describe to you that Habitat presents here, it really opens up a great opportunity for our citizens to be first-time homeowners or people trying to move into a nicer home, to give them an opportunity to have that first home or that better home that they can afford and live in. So with this, I will turn this over to Laura to continue to show you guys and share with you all. Let me go back this way. Okay. There you go.
Mr. Tribbett, before you step away, and
Yes, ma'am.
all the history behind the restrictions on this property all have been reviewed legally, and we have come to this
Absolutely.
conclusion, and that was very clear, and I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely, and I meant to bring that up, that we had our city attorney review all of these deeds and all these amendments that were made to it, and the warranty deed that the city has been reviewed by our legal team, and they have come to the same conclusion that I just expressed to you, that it is suitable and acceptable to build residential housing on this property.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about this exciting partnership and project. I'm Laura Kelly. I'm the Executive Director with Holston Habitat for Humanity, and Holston Habitat for Humanity has been serving residents of Carter, Sullivan, and Washington counties, as well as Bristol, Virginia, since 1985. So since 1985, we have partnered with 322 families over that time, and I think an interesting fact is that 45% of the families that we have served have been single parents, specifically single mothers. So that tells you a bit about the residents who need a hand up. Holston Habitat offers a 0% interest mortgage. And when you look at interest rates, you can't find that anywhere else. And so our mission is to really bring people together, build homes, communities, and hope. And that matters so much in this market especially, because when we look at our current economy, at our current market, with inflation, with interest rates, and then with our housing inventory, at prices that are affordable, we lack inventory in a really significant way. And I deeply appreciate that the city has brought in consultants that have helped illuminate the need for affordable housing. In fact, I know that the city has identified a need for 500 or more units in the coming years. And so I think this is a great way for us to partner together to address that need. And as well, utilize a piece of land that the city is currently maintaining year after year. And so we're excited to potentially provide really energy efficient, brand new, affordable, handicap accessible housing to hopefully 12 new families. And so this project has come to fruition after many months of discussions and has gone through a few different design iterations, but our goal is to provide affordable, beautiful homes, to create a neighborhood that resembles and is appropriate to the surrounding area, both with zoning and with design, socioeconomic status,
to create a sense of community and to also honor the fact that this is a beautiful piece of property and it's located in a place that is close to services, it's close to schools, it's close to town. It's a really prime location for individuals and for families to grow and thrive. And so we really liked the idea of putting that bit of green space down at the bottom of the hill closest to Moreland Drive, to conveying that back to the city. We'll put some kind of park space, whether that's, you know, a jungle gym or a swing set. The design elements will come in the future. But I think that that's a great way to honor the city's intent of not only providing affordable housing, but to also eliminate any kind of a park desert. I think that's just really well suited for that neighborhood. Public infrastructure, that road is really wide, so I think it's well suited for road parking. It's accessible with great new sidewalks. So we're excited about this potential development and what it will bring to the community and especially the families who will hopefully look forward to living here. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I really love the Habitat model of home ownership. We know how rents have gone up. We know how the price of housing has gone up. And with this kind of partnership, we can help keep the prices low so that the materials and the labor that y'all use, I mean, City Manager Ball and a number of women here in the city worked on one of your houses recently. And so a lot of volunteer labor goes into it under the supervision of a contractor. So he had his hands full with us that day, for sure.
You all did a great job.
But I think the point I'm trying to make here is that so many people are left to try to find rentals, and rentals have just kind of gone out off the charts as well. But getting families in these houses to be able to start accruing net wealth, basically, to begin building equity so that they have resources at their disposal as they live in that house and don't have to move on and leave everything behind. It is a great place where, you know, I want to see our citizens being able to have that kind of opportunity. The size houses too, I think, I often say this, we've kind of mega-sized ourselves out of the housing market. We all have such big houses and all that. I grew up in a house very much like the size that we're talking about here, and it really brings families together. And so I think as we look at a strategy to be able to get back to the place where we also call it workforce housing, where people who, you know, are new into the market and need that starter home, you know, can go. So, but I like that about the Habitat model because you make, and I know you teach classes in finance and home management and all those kind of things to help that new homeowner be successful and be able to live there for, I think, 30 years, I think is the target. And I know you've achieved that with many of your projects. So, but thank you for that, and I think it's just a good model for success.
You articulate our mission very well. We really see homeownership as being transformational in terms of generational wealth. I mean, it gives families an asset to pass down, and we're excited to provide that opportunity.
And then we'll have front porches, right?
They sure will.
Laura,
they will be good-looking houses.
Yeah. Hosting for Habitat for Humanity is not just a local mission, it's a global mission. I mean, you guys work in local communities across 50 states and 70 countries, making a difference where everyone has a decent place to live. And that speaks volumes. I appreciate the fact that you guys provide coaching and education and support for home owners so that they can be successful. We as a community support your vision to build strength and stability and self-reliance for our neighbors in need, and for families to be homeowners is a game changer. So thank you for inviting us to partner with you in changing the lives of many families all over East Tennessee.
Thank you.
Anything else? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
We have the consent agenda. We just
That's what
pull
we're
this.
doing.
This is for the consent agenda.
This is for the whole thing.
May I ask a question? Can others speak on this matter?
That's up to you, Mayor. I mean, we do it on second reading, don't we?
Yeah, and there's not a second reading
Oh,
on
there's
this.
not on it.
So,
That's okay.
yeah. We'll let you have 3 minutes to talk if you would like to come up.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
My name is Tim Dills. I've lived at 313 Greenway Drive for the past 55 years. My parents and I rented the property for 25 of those years, and I've been the tax-paying owner for the past 30. My backyard is adjacent to the property in question. Over 60 years ago, before we moved to Greenway Drive, the city of Johnson City promised that this property would be a park. When we arrived in June of '68, we were told that the undeveloped field in the back was set aside for a park. When this property last came before the commission in June of 2007, it was still listed as a park. While the city has had decades of opportunities to provide more structure to a park, it has instead chosen to allow it to remain an open space. I, for one, have no objection to it remaining that way. I've witnessed past Easter egg hunts there, and on a recent windy day, I've saw a child flying a kite there. There aren't many places you can do those activities left in our city. I applaud your recent decision as a commission on the open space policy, and if I may quickly quote, "Open space improves the aesthetic character of the community, protects landscapes, reduces stormwater runoff, improves public health, maintains property values, conserves habitats, and provides recreational spaces." While I realize that that new policy applies to new developments, I hope you'll see the wisdom of earlier leaders who designated this as our area's open space. I'm not opposed to the work of Habitat for Humanity. The Missions Committee at Central Baptist, which I chair, recently provided $5,000 in funding for one of their builds last year and an equal amount for this coming year. But I don't believe they've been properly informed at the restrictions on this property. Our neighborhood is a quiet one with many senior citizens and retired folks living there. My father, for example, is 96 years old. They really do not need their lives upset by a large building project. I respectfully ask the commission to honor the city's previous commitments to either develop this as a city park or allow it to remain open space. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like? Yes, sir. Just give us your name and your address, if you would.
Okay. My name is Jimmy Blevins. I live at 317 Greenway Drive. I, like Mr. Dills, my neighbor, have property that backs up to this park. I had a statement prepared here to read, but it's rather lengthy since you said that there is going to be a time limitation here. I'll just go ahead and paraphrase what I intended to say and make it brief and to the point. I went back to Jonesboro. I pulled the deeds down there that are on file. There are no deeds past 1957, 59 that can be found anywhere concerning this property. There are restrictions and covenants on this, and all of them state it is to remain a park. Mr. Trivet has done his research. I don't have a staff of lawyers to go do my research for me. It's not possible, but I do know enough to, when I see it on these restrictions, covenants that had to follow the deed, that every one of them mentions it has to be a park. This was done by unanimous decision in '59. A vote was allowed to be taken by the residents of Johnson City in that area at that time, and the commission agreed that it was the best use of that property to be utilized as a park. Like Mr. Dills mentioned, I sat here for night after night, hour after hour in 2007 with the commission when a shady deal was pulled to try to sell the park. It was determined at that time by the commission that it could not be sold and it would be retained as a neighborhood green space park. We were assured we would never have to go through this again. At that time, one of the commissioners, Jane Myron, approached us after the meeting and told us to approach the city officials about having it officially named and put down as a park for the city. We set out to do that after that. Every department we went to, every person we met with was walking into a brick wall. What we met with was like the old movie a few years ago. Some of you may remember The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, when the politician did the song and dance routine, do a little sidestep. That's what we encountered. I will close, and I said I would keep it brief. Ms. Myron, you and I met up at Freedom Hall and spoke right before the election, and you told me that someone had called you about the park back there, about the mowing situation, and we discussed it briefly. You mentioned at that time that you felt like it would be nice to put some benches and maybe a picnic table or two up, or possibly a pavilion, so that it would enhance it even more. You, Mayor Fowler, just got up a few minutes ago and gave a award to two deserving young ladies concerning kids in parks, and stated we need to get more people out in the parks. That's what this is supposed to be about, is a park. I have no problem with any of you all or our city manager, Ms. Ball. Y'all are relatively new to the city around here and city government. I don't think you all knew what was going on here. I could give you a history lesson on that park, but it would take about 5 minutes to do it. Give you the history when it was called pot liquor back in the 50s, and later when my deceased father-in-law was offered every plot up there to build homes on. He was a well-known contractor in Johnson City. They offered him every lot up there in pot liquor for $500 a piece, and he said, nobody's ever going to want to live in pot liquor. He'd find it funny now to find out his only daughter owns a home and lives in pot liquor. But again, I have no problem with Habitat for Humanity. They do great work. I understand that. I know there's a need for low-cost housing for people. As Ms. Brock said, I agree with what she's saying. We do need more of that. This is not the place for it. It's a park. It was intended to be a park. That's what it was designated from the very time that the City Housing Authority purchased that property, allowed it to be voted on. It was transferred to the city. It was agreed it would be a park. And now you want to get rid of it. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I saw homes while I was living in Florida for a few years before I got my senses back and moved back to Johnson City. I saw houses within 500 yards of where we bought a home down there in Florida that were the same thing. They were lower income or affordable housing homes that were built on a piece of property that was set out beside the highway there. They built some beautiful homes in there. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, car, a garage rather. Nice, beautiful homes. They were cinder block on cement foundation, stuccoed, wonderful homes. 2 years after those homes were occupied, they looked like junkyards. The people could not afford to keep them up after they got them. They were $500 down and low interest. We don't want to see that end up back there. That's a park. We see people using it to walk their dogs, take walks in. Easter egg hunts by many of the churches this past year during Easter. There were cars lined up from one end of Moreland Drive to the other on 3 different occasions on Easter Sunday out there doing Easter egg hunts. This is a community park. That's a low-income neighborhood. We have nothing like that else in town. If you get rid of that, it can never be replaced. You're giving away a beautiful and very valuable piece of property. I know it's supposed to be for a good cause. I don't doubt that. But that's not what it was intended for, and it needs to be kept for what it is right now, a green space park out there.
We appreciate you
I rest my case. I ask y'all to vote your conscience on this, and if you vote your conscience and do the moral right thing, I think we know what you'll do. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. And if you'll state your name and your address for
All
us,
right.
please.
My name is George Bristol. I'm at 405 Moreland Drive, just across the street from the proposed buildings. Not only do they have picnics and Easter egg hunts, people walk their dogs, the kids go out and play. Like the man said, they fly kites. We've got a real nice community over there. Everybody looks out for each other. We don't have any crime. We want to try to keep it that way. Now, I've got a proposal that we can take care of all of this. The Target building is empty. There's a big lot over there. It's also got an impound lot that's got a bunch of cars on it that can be sold and used for that property. They've also got the building. They can tear the building down. Use the scrap metal for expenses as well, and then that would eliminate the whole situation. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Teresa McAdams, 502 West 9th Avenue. I think
you all do a great job with houses, but I also have some of those houses in our neighborhood who has been built, who have done exactly what that man said. They look like they've ran down already, and they haven't been there for 5 years. The other problem is, we are already short services by the city with trash pickup, debris pickup, off-street parking. We have a ghost park, Paul Christmas Park. The city does not maintain that park. We have drug houses right across the street, right next door. The park cannot even be used. People are afraid of that park. We have a ghost park, so are you gonna add another park for the city to what? Is it gonna be better upkept because of it being their location? I'm just confused about how we keep adding these things without adding services for the people who are already there. We're getting short services now. There's sometimes trash that sits in our neighborhood for weeks. I can take you by properties right now that there's been dilapidated cars for years that's never been addressed by the city. Even when we bring it to your attention, it's not addressed. I don't understand how you can put more houses, more residents, and to provide services that you're not providing for the residents that's already there. And we already have lower income houses around us. That's where the crime's coming from. I can't even tell you how many shootings, killings that's happened in the lower income properties that are there now that we're dealing with, that are still not addressed. Those apartments that the Johnson City Housing Authority put where the Carver projects were supposed to be this big thing. We've had more shootings and crimes there since that apartment's been open. Nobody's addressing these things. Let's address and deal with what we have now instead of putting more homes to where services are going to be short, because that's only going to short us even more. If you can't pick up trash and debris now, how are we going to get 11, 12 more houses picked up? That's just my concern.
Thank you.
Can I add one last thing, and it's okay, second?
Okay.
I had not planned on mentioning this. These folks came forward. Our neighborhood is approximately 70% black. My own street is probably 40% black. Are we being shorted because of that? This is not right. Folks, we need that park. That park is one of the few decent places that folks like that whose children want to come over there and play, fly a kite, walk their dog. It's safe. We have people like the folks that live over on Moreland, like us behind there. If we see something going on, I'm a retired police officer. I worked many years for the Johnson City Police Department, and I retired from the state. And don't think I won't report it and call 911 immediately if I see something going on wrong. I'm not afraid to. We need this. And I know there's got to be other places, the other gentleman just stated, that could be used that the city already owns and could donate to them to build nice homes on. This is just not the spot. I rest.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, I'm Rick Beeson. I live at 112 Barberry Road, and I'll try not to go into too much detail, but I represented the Johnson City Housing Authority for 30-some years, and there was all kinds of confusion as to who owned this property between the Housing Authority and the city. I know that this property was considered as part of what could have been the community center. And also, if you know, as far as the property toward John Exum, that's a wonderful development that has happened there. I think it's been a great use of the land, and I support this project, this proposal. I happen to own some property right across the street. The city owns the corner of Moreland and 10th, and I own the property right next to it. And I've often said that I'll be glad to contribute that property to the city if it would help with this type of development. And I would answer any questions that the commission might have.
We may hold you to it.
Oh, as far as contribution? Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Beasley.
Anyone else?
I just have couple of follow-up questions. Mr. Trivett, Mr. Blevins indicated that he'd gone to the courthouse and could not find any of the deeds or information about it after a certain period of time. Where did we get our information that you?
From the courthouse.
From the courthouse?
Yeah, it's recorded down there. We looped up and searched through the deed books and the tax numbers and pulled it up. And there's 3 different recordings on that, and I'd be happy to provide him copies of these, so that he could see them.
I think,
because-
Step to the
step to the microphone,
Sorry.
yeah. They're blinking at
JT's
us.
blinking at me.
If you answer one question for me on this, it's pertaining to deeds.
Yes, sir.
There's a notary that's used on there and sealed dated 1937 on a recording of 1962. You have any idea? They couldn't explain it to me down there either, and I know that in 2007, when we went through all this before with the city commission, Mr. James Epps, who was the attorney for the city, did the research, came back in here and stood right beside where the mayor's sitting right now and advised the commission that there was no way this property could be disposed of.
Excuse me, sir, can you come to the mic, please? Because they're trying to get you recorded. Thank you.
In 2007, when the commission met and voted to retain this as a park, Mr. James Epp, who was the city attorney for the city for many, many years, probably one of the sharpest legal minds in the area, stood right behind where the mayor is sitting right now and advised the commission that the deeds and all the covenants were so messed up and that there was no other deeds past 1957 available, that there was no way the property could be sold, disposed of, or anything done with it except to maintain it as a park, that there were so many loopholes and so many messed up things on it that it could be tied up in court for years if they tried to pursue it. And they voted to retain it and keep it as a park.
Can I
Thank
get
you.
Mr. Trivett up in front there to answer that question?
Absolutely. Here is the warranty deed where the Johnson City Housing Authority transferred the property to the city of Johnson City. And it's dated, it was put into effect October the 10th, 1962.
Okay, could we not?
Yeah, I mean, I can meet with
need to-
him and go over all
Yeah.
this.
I'll show you this quickly right here.
I think we need to have that conversation.
Sure.
At another time. Yeah.
I think they kind of want to move forward and let me and you get together and talk.
Well,
Yes,
just
absolutely.
Take 1 second, you'll see what I ask you, and then I'll sit down. 1937, 10th day of October, 1962.
Yeah, that's the one I just showed you.
Right, that's the one you just showed me, and this seal from the notary that notarized this is from 1937.
Well, and that's probably the seal, the date the seal was put into effect, like the city seal.
That's 25 years later.
Right, but that's
Alright.
probably still on the seal, so
They
thank
could
you,
not- they
thank
could
you.
not
Thank
be
you.
answered at the courthouse in Jonesboro either. They
Okay.
have to wait.
All right.
Couldn't
Thank you.
possibly happen.
Okay, so what we have available to us is what we've researched
Yes, ma'am.
recently. I mean, the things that I have to consider, there's kind of 3 things I want to talk about. I have to believe that the documents that you've presented to us and have been verified by our legal analysis are the true documents that dictate what we can do with that property.
That is correct.
Is that a correct statement? The second thing, as a commissioner, I know for a fact that I can't encumber a future commission, that 10, 15 years from now, they may change the action that we take on any given thing. So, what happened in 2007, what happened in 1961, those are all things that happened at that time, but as things change and progress, that oftentimes things do get changed. So that's another factor. The third thing, and I guess Mrs. Ball, this is to Ms. McAdams' point here, and we know, and we've talked with you many times thinking that things are getting better over there, but if we could follow up on city services, I can't imagine that our city trash collection and all would leave things on the street for that long. And
I
so
took
we-
notes of that to check on that tomorrow, ma'am.
Please do. And Chrisman Park is, I would call it kind of a little pocket park, and it is in honor of a great man. and it deserves to have full attention
Absolutely.
and patrol more often so that the kind of activities you're talking about, you know, don't happen there. So that's kind of a third thing that's come out tonight, for sure.
Yes,
But
and I'll follow up on that with Park and Rec and with Public Works.
right. The fourth thing, there's another thing,
Okay.
fourth.
We'll wait.
I've heard reference to low-income housing, and they're gonna get run down, and they're, you know, all this. Let's remember that the people who live in this housing are gonna be mortgage owners. They are moving into housing, and they will be paying a mortgage and building equity in these homes. And they're gonna be worked with in a way that we all, as a first-time home owner, it would have been really worthwhile if I could have taken the courses that y'all require for these homeowners. And just the history of participants in the Habitat program is very, very positive. And when we go look at the houses that were built some years ago, they are well kept up. And, you know, you're gonna have some outliers, I'm sure. But I have a lot of faith in the work that y'all do and the quality of housing. We just saw one over across from Langston. We have three new houses there made by, that were built by 3 different organizations. And the Habitat House is just a great house. It really is. So I think, and kind of as an addendum to that, we have to have more housing. We absolutely just have to have more housing. And it has to be addressed so that people who do the mainstay of the work in this city have places to live. And that's a commitment that this commission has made in our strategic plan, is workforce housing, that we have to get that, you know, really built in our community. And it's a good thing to spread that around the community so that, you know, everybody can be stimulated by the environments around them. So anyway, those are the things that in making this decision I have to take into consideration.
I understand.
Yeah, children in these houses would go to Northside School, which is not very far away, and Liberty Bell and Science Hill, correct?
I'm not exactly sure about the elementary school. It would be Liberty Bell and Science Hill to my knowledge, but I don't know if they'd go to Northside or to Mountain View.
Okay.
Sis might know. The elementary school go to Northside?
Northside.
Yeah, which is really close.
It's very close.
Yeah. Any other discussion? We had a motion a while ago. Are we going to keep on that?
Did you make that motion?
Yeah, I did make the motion, and I hear the concerns of our citizens, and not really knowing the history of the space, but learning more about it today. And I do have full trust in our legal team and the research that our city management has made. I know that this has been in the works for quite some time in dealing with this possibility. This is not new. And so I do find it kind of unfortunate to hear concerns kind of in the fourth quarter when things are pretty much moving down the pipeline. We as a commission, to attest to Commissioner Brock's point, we have prioritized affordable housing. There is a limited stock of housing for the workforce. It is a continued problem that we're dealing with on a day-to-day matter. So do we, you know, you're weighing two things here. Do we put families who are working and adding value to our community in limbo and no place to live? Or do we have open space so people can enjoy? I am aware there are open spaces for our community to take part in, but I'm also aware that there's a lack of affordable housing for the workforce. So those are 2 things to take into consideration. But we as a commission, to attest to Commissioner Brock, we have committed publicly for quite some time to do whatever it takes to create opportunities for affordable housing for the workforce, to manifest within our community.
And I will add that we need parks and we need houses. There's a need for both of those things, and we don't want to intrude on neighborhoods, but we also need places for people to stay that are not far out of the community, not with having to bus kids in from outside if we can not have to do that. So I am torn also between this, that I wish I hadn't heard both sides of the story today, because that makes it harder. So anyway, would you like to continue?
With the amount of research and work we've already put into this, I'm still in support to provide affordable housing for the workforce. This is not an effort for housing for a low-income community. This is for people who are adding value and working jobs within our community. I support that strongly, knowing that there is a low stock of housing. Knowing our community is the number one most desired place in the nation right now. And it's sad that people who work here, they don't have a place to live. So that's weighing heavy on my heart to know that the housing is more important to me than a place to play. And I do hear the concerns. I do hear the concerns, and I don't ignore those concerns. But I know there are those who don't have a place to live who are working, and I believe that's more important. So I continue to move that motion.
And I'll second.
All right.
Is that to approve the entire consent agenda as
Yes.
presented?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
I think that, I'm sorry, I was getting verification. This is on the consent agenda, so you would just put it back on, I'm sorry, let me get to the microphone.
We're voting
Make a motion to
to approve the consent agenda.
To approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry about that.
Okay, Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioners, your next order of business is a consideration of ordinance 4844-23. This is the first reading. It's an ordinance to suspend Title 8, Chapter 1, Section 101 of the Code of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee. We have our city attorney, Ms. Sandos, here.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner Brock. What is before you is a little, we haven't seen many of these in the last few years due to some of the changes that we've had in Title 8. The reason that this comes before you as an ordinance is a little bit of a unique situation. Traditionally, Meet the Mountains is the event that's held within Founders Park. Due to the ongoing construction, that is not a possibility this year. Many of the events that have been relocated from Founders Park into King Commons has been able to accommodate a lot of those events that have had to be relocated. Meet the Mountains, due to the unique nature of it, and Ms. Whitson can speak to that further if there's additional questions regarding the event, but it's just not conducive to that location. So there's been a facility and use agreement that's been entered with Parks and Rec to relocate Meet the Mountains over to Winged Deer Park. Traditionally, there is alcohol that's been served with that event, and the way that the zoning is set up for Winged Deer right now, that would not be a possibility without the temporary suspension of some portions of Title 8. So that is the ordinance that is before you today for consideration, is a temporary suspension to allow for a very set period of time alcohol to be consumed at Winged Deer during Meet the Mountains.
And that would just be down on the waterfront? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. There is a beer permitted area that has been outlined and identified where alcohol is permitted to be consumed.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I do. I will make a motion for approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
Thank you. While you're up here, Ms. Whitson, you want to just kind of tell what it's going to mean to move Meet the Mountains out to the
You know,
Winged Deer
when we
Park?
first learned that we were going to have to move Meet the Mountains to Winged Deer Park, and we thought, oh boy, this is going to be, you know, a little bit of a challenge. This is our second year of doing this event, and we're 90 days out.
But it's turned out that it's going to be a great location for Meet the Mountains. The water is built in. We don't have to bring in a pool so that people can come and to paddleboard and to canoe and things like that. The city departments have been amazing to work with, Parks and Recreation, Public Facilities, Public Works. Everybody has just been absolutely wonderful. We'll have to do a media day when the fire truck comes over to fill up the water dogs, or for the jumping of the dogs to
Air
get that
dogs.
pool, yeah, to get the air dogs going and everything. So, but we're really excited about this change in location and look forward to having many people come out to enjoy the beautiful lakefront.
We'll be there.
Thank you.
Welcome.
The next item is item 8.1, which is an ordinance, is ordinance 4836-23. This is the third reading. It's an ordinance to amend Title 5, Chapter 1 of the Code of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, and our city attorney, Ms. Sandos, will be presenting that.
Thank you, Ms. Ball. There have been no revisions since the first or second reading of this ordinance, Commissioners.
Do I have a motion?
Just give a brief overview for the public of what it is, just 2 sentences is enough.
Due to recent passage with the legislature of a bill that allows for a legislative body to pass an ordinance authorizing the administrator of the city, in our case that would be Ms. Ball as our city manager, to enter into binding contracts up to $25,000. We're required to pass an ordinance that sets forth the parameters and excludes any business that cannot be entered into in those contracts. What we've set forth in ours is the acquisition, disposition of real property, as well as authority to enter into litigation. Those things, regardless of value, would still have to be approved by the board. Otherwise, contracts of what is deemed an insubstantial amount, which that's set forth by our legislature, is $25,000. So our city manager at this time will be able to enter into those contracts, provide notice to you on the regular updates with the agenda, but we'll be able to enter into those. It'll save time and expedite some of our
There's
processes.
3 sentences there. I'll move for approval.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
Item 8.2 is ordinance number 4842-23. This is the third reading. It's an ordinance authorizing the City of Johnson City to enter into a certain rights-of-way access agreement with LMK Communications, LLC. And we have the interim Public Works Director, Andy Best, with us. Thank you, Andy.
We're bringing this before you with no additions or changes, and just for your approval. And LMK representative is here if you have any questions. They did send a representative if you wanted to ask them any questions.
And I think I did ask my question, this is all going to be pole attachments, or will there be street level cabinets right of way? Hi.
Hi,
Can you-
sorry, Alicia Manzi, outside plan operations manager at LMK, DBA Segra. We are looking at, in multiple areas of Tennessee. In Johnson City, I don't believe at this point, we may be looking to purchase a property to put like a hut on, but that would not be in the right of way. This would be, we would purchase that.
You purchase it from private?
That parcel, yes. If it is suitable to go underground, like a directional bore, we would put that into place, or pole attachments. We have an agreement with, reach out to LCUB, I have their agreement to read tonight, I don't think they're around here. KUB, we have an agreement with, that's in place. We're already working with TDOT and Royce Faust, already having permits approved for construction. We're not starting yet, but.
Our distributor here is Bright Ridge, who would
Bright Ridge,
own the
yes,
poles.
yes, Bright Ridge. I should have done a little more research before driving up
That's
here
all
today. I
right.
apologize,
It's all
I've
right.
been in the car all day. But yes, Bright Ridge, and there's also Bright Speed. We're working with both of them, so
Century
there's a
Link.
lot of Brights and a lot of UBs, so.
But you're not putting any mini refrigerators on poles?
No, it'd be fiber attachments if it is on a pole, maybe a little splice can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, very
That's good, thanks.
All right.
Yes.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Have a
Second.
motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for driving all day.
The next item, Commissioners, is item 8.3. This is ordinance 4843-23. This is the third reading. It's an ordinance to amend Title 8, Chapter 1 of the Code of the City of Johnson City. And we have our City Attorney Sandos here.
There have been no changes between the first and second readings. As a reminder and for the public, this ordinance is a revision to Title 8, which permits an outdoor permitted area at Freedom Hall for beer consumption. The area to be permitted complies with all other requirements of Title 8 with regard to the distance requirements as well as time requirements. Based upon the geography of that area, it permits a 34-foot strip that runs along what is called Parking Lot A of the building. That's where the entrance to the pool is, and the smaller gymnasium. So it's a 34-foot strip that will be ordained to be the beer permitted area for the Freedom Hall premises for the
It'll be a
outside.
secured area that you have to get a wristband or something to get into.
Yes, ma'am. In compliance with all other requirements of Title 8, it has to have an actual
Physical.
perimeter, yes, a physical perimeter.
And it will not be done during school hours or when children are around at the school.
That is correct, and there are other state requirements that'll be complied with as well.
Move for approval.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioners, the remainder of the items are under other business. The first one is item 9.1, which is an annexation. Request to proceed with an owner consent annexation at Boones Creek Commons annexation. This is to consider a request to proceed with the annexation of approximately 8 acres located at 149 Christian Church Road. And we have Ms. Warren here with the Planning Department.
Better star's gonna come out.
Hello, good evening, everybody. So in front of you, I have the voluntary annexation of approximately 8 acres located at 149 Christian Church Road, otherwise known as the ONCS annexation. So here
There it
is our
is.
timeline. As you can see, we are at the very beginning of this process, so we are just in front of you for a request to proceed. If you guys approve this tonight, then that will allow staff to do a further dive into it and prepare a plan of services and gather all of that information to take to the Planning Commission and then come to you all with a recommendation moving forward. So the request is this parcel right here. Again, it's about 8 acres. As you can see, it is completely surrounded by the city limits. The applicant is seeking a zoning assignment of RP3, and there actually is a rezoning process in motion as we speak to have this top parcel and this parcel right here be rezoned to RP3 as well. So this is a part of a comprehensive development of these 3 parcels right here.
Can you tell me what that parcel is right below it?
What this is?
Uh-huh.
No?
What is it zoned?
Oh, what is it zoned? It's B4 commercial.
you.
I thought that was a trick question, that it was going to have like a special name. I was like, I don't know.
Everybody else is changing. I just need to know what it
Yeah,
was.
so this is, this whole area is B4 currently.
Okay.
And they are planning on keeping this B4 as well.
Okay.
So this is the plan of services. All of these departments will have time to review the plan of services that will be binding for this parcel. Staff recommends approval of the request to proceed. The parcel is located inside of the city limits and inside of the urban growth boundary and urban service area, and again is completely surrounded by the city limits.
It's a donut hole.
It is a donut hole.
And Ms. Ball, we have in this year's budget, the study of Christian Church Road and some of the planning to go on.
I think Mr. Best has left, but it's actually to do the construction.
Is it to do with the construction?
No,
Okay,
he's
so
here.
widening.
Yeah,
widening
we may
Christian-
have him speak to, within
Okay.
the budget, the FY '24 budget, there's funding for $100,000 for Christian Church Road. And I'm going to ask our interim Public Works Director if that's for construction. Is that correct?
Well, that's just design.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
You're
just
correct.
looking at.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yes,
Thank you.
just-
Yeah.
just-
But we're
you for the
starting, and that
clarification.
will take place in the fall, that design
Yes.
work?
Yes, yeah.
It'll be funded on July 1st, so,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's good news. Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Any moves?
I would move that we
Move.
set in motion the STAR to at least proceed to study this more in depth.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 9.2 is to consider approval of a resolution delegating authority to the Industrial Development Board, also known as the IDB, to enter into a pilot agreement for Project Master. And we have our Economic Development Director, Alicia Summers, here.
Good evening.
Evening.
You have before you two projects that are requiring resolutions for your consideration tonight. They're related to Project Master, which is a recruitment project, and the Tyler Housing Project, which is a low-income housing renovation project. The Industrial Development Board met earlier today and approved both of the projects pending the consideration and approval by the City Commission of the resolutions that would delegate authority to the IDB to enter into those pilot agreements. And as a reminder, the IDB is authorized by state legislation, which allows IDBs to reduce, discount, or freeze property taxes for up to 20 years. And we use those as an economic development tool that helps to influence economic growth.
And the IDB is made up of local business people?
They are. It's a variety. It's a city-appointed board.
Mhm.
We have real estate folks on that board, finance folks, but it's a variety of different folks.
And we have to take these separate, so we're starting with just Project Master.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second about the pilot agreement with the IDB for Project Master. Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
And as Ms. Summers mentioned, the next one is to consider approval of a resolution delegating authority to the IDB to enter into a pilot agreement with the Tyler House Partners Project.
Correct.
Anything else you want to tell us about that?
Nope, it's a redevelopment or renovation project. There's 102 units that will be renovated, and the project is expected to take about 18 months.
That'll be a very good project.
It actually really will be.
I'll move
It's-
for approval.
Second.
They're
I have
making a lot of
motion
improvements to that
and
property.
a second. Any further discussion? All right, Ms. Laus?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Summers.
Thank you.
Next, we have,
I'm going to come down here to present to you. The next item is a recommendation for the commission to consider approval or adoption of your strategic plan that you completed at a retreat in January of 2023. So this was basically looking at the commission's work plan and vision for the next year. And you revised your vision to say Johnson City is a highly desirable community where people and businesses thrive. Along with that, there were some goals that you established. This was actually reinforcing the goals that you previously had in your strategic plan. They included economic vitality, and at the retreat, each of y'all worked together to define what this meant. You talked about quality of place as being a value within the community, and again, you defined that in ways that you see listed below. You included future-ready infrastructure. You just asked questions about a project that we're working on and are always looking at opportunities to make sure that we can accommodate growth through infrastructure. And again, we're able to provide the community and the staff what that looked like in terms of the wording that was provided. Excellence in city government, and then this also includes how we do business, how we perform our work, and how we serve our community. The priorities really, it was a culmination of saying there are certain things that the city has been working on, and you all went through that list of things that were being done to reassess those and to be able to evaluate them and tell the staff whether or not you wanted to continue working on those. So in these initiatives, we were able to outline what was currently underway that needed to continue happening, as well as new initiatives. I'm going to focus a little bit on those new initiatives as the other things are underway. The first one was to develop a citywide strategy to reduce drugs and crime. So with that being said, what you all have told to us is that you want us to go and include items within the budget for this coming year to address this and to develop this strategy. The second being develop a strategy to address homelessness by collaborating with public and private entities. The third new one, is to focus on revitalizing and invigorating South Johnson City. And then the last one, which you've talked about previously and had action on, is to create an affordable housing strategy plan, including financing. With that being said, if there are any questions that you have the plan. This is your plan, helps direct staff and lets the community know what's important to you.
Can you go back to that last slide? And I just want to have you just make a couple comments. Some of those things that are underway are really, really important things going on too. If you just might make a couple of comments on the comprehensive growth management plan, kind of where we
Certainly.
are and what that really means to the community.
Certainly. So as the community grows, and a lot of times we've had this looked at in neighborhood by neighborhood, the city of Johnson City has done this in terms of looking at areas like West Walnut Street. The comprehensive plan, growth management plan, is looking at the whole city. So it's really taking a look at what's happening in the way of where housing needs to go, where infrastructure needs to go. It also will assess the needs for schools, the areas where we see growth. It will include public safety needs. So we will assess the needs based on population and population growth over the next 20 years to determine the size of our police department, size of our fire department, where stations should be located. It will also include looking at underground infrastructure such as water and sewer, and how do we accommodate and provide for the growth that we have, as well as infrastructure associated with roadways. So every aspect of the community that's growing is taking a look at what needs to happen in our community to make that happen in a way that we retain our character. The first part of the study, so we have selected a consultant and are in the process of negotiating with that consultant to move forward. The first part of that, probably 6 to 8 months, is community engagement. One of the things about a comprehensive growth management plan is it really assesses where the community is and what the community wants to retain as growth happens. So getting those priorities. We've heard from people about parks. We've heard from people about affordable housing. So we know those things will be incorporated, but we will be looking specifically at where prime locations for those are and identifying those needs throughout this plan. The biggest part of the plan, it will include action items. So a plan by itself, the end of it will be based on this comprehensive plan. These are the things that the city would need to do over the next number of years to achieve this plan.
Now, the new items are, as you present the budget in early June, those are some of the drivers in the budget that you'll be presenting to us.
They are. So June 1st, we will do the first reading of the budget. There will be public comment at that time. And at that time, we will identify these new strategies, and we will identify resources that are needed within the budget to accomplish those.
Very good. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that very much. We did spend almost 2 full days as the commission with everyone getting those ideas and coming to a focus for the entire commission on what we were hoping to do. So we appreciate you setting all that up and taking the time, and the commission taking 2 days out of their
Yes.
busy schedules to do that.
It's very appreciated. If the commission decides to approve it tonight, then we would move forward on getting it put on the website and doing all the things that we need to do on our end.
Do Do I have a motion?
Absolutely. I'm very proud to make a motion for approval. And just one other comment, we really started the strategic plan in 2019. And when you go back and look at the original, how many things have been accomplished because we had a roadmap. You know, we had a blueprint on what we're going to do. And that really drives the funding mechanism to make things happen. So I think this is a great direction. So I very proudly move for approval.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I do second that motion. The initiatives that were spelled out are not only important for today, but for tomorrow. We've got some really good long-range planning in our strategic plan, and I'm hopeful that we can have the courage enough to make tough decisions that will help make our community a better place for our citizens to live.
And I appreciate that when we did this and got together, that you have taken it and you've run with it and gotten it ready to go in our next budget and are making headway on every single thing on that list we've been working on. So thank you for grabbing it and going with it and having the city behind us.
Thank you, and thank you again. It was a large commitment of your time. I'd also love to thank the city staff for the work that they've done in making this happen as well.
Ms. Lutz?
Commissioner Brock?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Mayor Fowler?
Yes. Anything else?
I have no other items, Mayor.
Specific to the strategic priority conversation.
You can have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Tricia Corrade, Korade, 200 East Main Street, Unit 202, downtown Johnson City. Chris and I moved to Johnson City in September, purchased property downtown, and since then we have been super active and engaging with the community, attending a variety of meetings. The homelessness issue is near and dear to our hearts, and we have been speaking to a variety of people. On April 17th, I did send an email to the commission as well as to Manager Ball. I've yet to receive a reply to the email, but essentially what it says is this: I implore you to take your priority about homelessness farther than this. I would love to see a commission, a board, a committee formally put in place that recognizes the importance of this and documents what it's going to take, who's accountable, the bylaws, the procedures. This is that important. We have committees and commissions about senior services, about beer licenses, about parks and rec. This is that serious, and it has an impact that is wide-reaching.
Okay, I'm going to respond myself. We have a person that we are hiring that is going to be in charge for the city specifically with homelessness, going to be connecting to all of the different groups in Johnson City that take care of homelessness, take care of serving lunches and things, and get a plan together. And that's one of my 4 things for my mayorship this year and next year. So we are with you. You're not on deaf ears. We are listening, and that's why we've got money in the budget to hire that person and to start going with that. So thank you for coming
Thank
forward.
you, and I'll reiterate what I've said to everybody that I've met with. We want to be sitting around the table and helping to solve this. We are not here to whine and complain. We want to be helping.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thanks for coming tonight, too.
That's good.
All right. Commissioner Brock.
I don't think I have anything.
All right. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, we as a community are facing challenges on a level that we haven't faced before. One who works with the homeless population daily. I share concerns with our citizens regarding the homeless population involvements in downtown Johnson City. This concern is shared among many business owners and residents, and I'm looking forward to working alongside my fellow commissioners and residents, city manager and staff, and prioritizing the strategy and a plan of action to address this matter. I appreciate what you said. This is a we think. This is not you take care of this or you take care of this. We need to do it together because this is our community. And so I look forward to us working together and seeing how we can best rectify this matter. So thank you for sharing that concern. And it's dear to my heart, too.
I think you would get that answer from every one of the the two that aren't here even would be with you. There's not a cure, I don't think, but we can sure work on making it a whole lot better. So if there's a cure, you let me know how, and we'll be happy to hear from you. So if there's nothing else, I will call us adjourned.